Bob, four Texas X's who made a name for themselves in Austin stepped onto a much bigger stage Tuesday. Now, playing for the Longhorns under the eyes of Texas is an experience, but the eyes of the world focus on Super Bowl Media Day.
It's a great one right there.
Before the madness started, we wanted to know what the expectations were.
Let them know how we feel.
I heard it's going to be a lot of, guys wearing a lot of costumes, ask stupid questions.
Those would classify as clown questions, bro.
Thanks for the softball question.
And reporters tried their best to get a swing and a miss.
I didn't get too many curveball questions. I got a couple that, some of them you got to diffuse real quick.
The only thing getting put out quicker than those curveball questions is the players. Tickets to the Super Bowl for family and friends cost $950 each.
22 tickets. Wow. Yeah, so that's a nice little penny.
That's a nice Christmas gift for the next decade.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a double-edged sword. Like, yeah, you're on the world's biggest stage, but come on now.
No, yeah, I mean, this is a once-in-a-lifetime type of thing. You never know. This might be my only time going.
Perhaps their one and only experience with primetime. Well, unless you count this embrace from the actual primetime. What has this been like?
I mean, questions ain't got nothing to do with the Super Bowl. Ain't got nothing to do with what we doing.
Like questions about food. And no, not Ray Rice.
Gumbo. I had this gumbo at Denny's.
What?
No, not Denny's, but Denny's.
A little soul food, if you will. We had the gumbo. We had what we had. We had some like bourbon bread pudding.
We hope you didn't ruin your Super Bowl appetite with Media Day, probably the biggest event outside of the game itself, because Tuesday was just an appetizer of a week's worth of coverage. We'll be back in the Big Easy Wednesday as Texas X Terrell Brown breaks down film of fellow Longhorn Leonard Davis. But it's not the kind of film you might think. Reporting from Super Bowl 47 in New Orleans, Adam Winkler, KI TV Sports.